Okay, so these are Punnett square notes for biology. Punnett squares, right here, it says, how can a Punnett square be used to predict the heredity of offspring? So it's about genetics and heredity. That's really what Punnett squares are about. So it says, number one, patterns of heredity can be predicted. And number two, a Punnett square shows how parents' alleles might combine. And three says, each parent has two alleles for a particular gene. An offspring receives one allele from a parent. A Punnett square shows how the parent's alleles may be passed on. So an allele is just like that trait that the parent has. Genetic problems can easily be solved using a tool called a Punnett square. And this right here is your Punnett square. You start a Punnett square by drawing a table like this. Completing a Punnett square is a several-step process. You need to know the parent's alleles. So these letters right here, those are the parent's alleles. So a big uppercase letter is a dominant allele, and a little lowercase letter is a recessive allele. And that just means that the dominant one is the one that you're going to see. You might have both of those genes, but we're only going to see the dominant one. So keep that in mind. So an allele is this right there. Okay, so tallness, capital T, is dominant over shortness, lowercase t, in pea plants. A heterozygous, another thing. Hetero means that you have both big and little. Okay? Homozygous means you have the same. So it can be two big T's or two little T's. So keep that in mind. Oops, sorry. Homo or same alleles. Hetero are different alleles. Okay, so we have this. They want us to cross big T, little t, and big T, little t. So you got to draw, and I'm going to just do it over here on another box. So we have big T, little t times big T, little t. And that's what this basically is. Fancy multiplication. I'm going to draw my box here. Okay. So now you're going to start this with one parent. So big T, little t there. And one parent up here, big T, little t. So the yellows went here. And the reds, they went there. Okay? So now you do this, and I'm going to take all that stuff out because it makes it look yucky. You do this by multiplying T times T, which will give us big T, big T. Okay? Now we're going to do T, big T times little t. And that's going to give us big T, little t. Okay? Next, we're going to do little t, big T. And you always start with uppercase capital. So big T, little t. And then we're going to end with little t, little t. Let me fix this too. Then we have little t, little t. Okay? And so we have the alleles of big T. That's, since there's 4, each one of these is worth 25%. Okay? They're a quarter. So this is 25%. And this one is tall. That's the dominant trait because they both have 2 big T's. Now, right here, those two, 25 plus 25 is 50%. Let me make this a little smaller so you can see. So we have big T, big T, little t, that's 50%. And that's also tall because anytime you have a dominant allele, that's going to trump everything. So that plant is going to be tall. Now here, this one, 25% all alone, little t, that's going to be short. And that's the only way you'll ever get a recessive. So these are dominant and this one is recessive. You'll only have a recessive if you have two of those lowercase. Okay? So that's a first practice. Let's go back up here and do another practice. So it says we have a green pea plant is crossed with a yellow pea plant. So green is the big G right here, and that's a dominant trait, and yellow is the little g, and that's a recessive trait. So it says we have G, ooh, that's yucky, sorry. We have big G crossed with little g. Okay, so let's put it in our box. We have big G crossed with little g. Start here, these two. Okay, so in that we're going to have big G, little g. Okay, next one we have this one and this one. Once again, we're going to have big G, little g. And I just erased everything, sorry. All right, did I do that right? Yes, okay, so now we're going to do this one and this one. So we'll have little g, and then again, this one and this one, little g. Okay, so we have reds, 2 of those, and yellows, 2 of those. Let's write it right here to the side. So we have big G, little g, 50% green. We have little g, 50% yellow. So when these parent plants cross-pollinate and make new plants, half of them will be green and the other half will be yellow. One more practice. Let's do the flowers. R is crossed with RR. So capital R, lowercase r is crossed with 2 lowercase r's. And the white is lowercase, that's recessive. So we have capital R, lowercase, lowercase. Okay? We're going to start with 1 and 2 to get capital R, lowercase r. Now we're going to do 1 and 2 to get capital R, lowercase r. Once again, 1 and 2 to get lowercase and lowercase. And then 1 and 2 to get lowercase and lowercase. So this one is capital R, lowercase r. Those are 2, so that's 50% red, the dominant alleles coming out. And now we have lowercase, that's 50%. The recessive allele of white flower is going to come out. And this is your practice.